9.5. We have worked to educate the public and our legislators of the existential threat of the climate crisis. We collaborate with other groups on many issues related to protection of the earth. If you are wondering about our origins, I have the answer. I want to acknowledge and introduce Sally Van Vleck, one of the founders of NMEAC way back in 1980. She will introduce a couple of others involved and give you a description of why and how NMEAC was organized in the first place. Sally, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. And I'd like to also bring up the other founding mothers, Martha Phillips and Charlene Goral. And Judith Cawhorn couldn't be here this evening, the fourth one. So come on up, girls. Stand, good stand, listen. So I'm supposed to just explain a little bit about the beginning. And the four of us were sitting around Martha Phillips' kitchen table. I know you've heard the kitchen table story many times. And so we were frustrated by the nuclear power plant, Big Rock, right up the bay in Charlevoix. And they were going to put the waste fuel rods closer together and the waste fuel pool. And we didn't know if that was a good idea or not. And they were trying to tell us it was. So we thought, well, we better check into this. And there were some others involved, of course, as well. And so we thought we'd do a fundraiser to hire some experts in order to check out what consumers was thinking about and if this was a really good idea. And in the course of that, we ran a fundraiser. Remember that?
The garage sale at the Civic Center.
And the cakewalk and the art auction and all that. And well, while it wasn't 100% successful, since it was like about 90 degrees that day and we were inside the barn at the Civic Center, we did end up with 40 members, and I think we all bought a lot of art. So NMEAC was launched, and we became an organization because we had to have some credibility in order to have standing. And so then from there, we branched out into a bunch of different issues in the Sand Lakes Quiet area and oil recycling, bike paths, and a whole bunch of other things, too many to mention, but this was the very humble beginnings. And I'm really proud because NMEAC is still going, and it has been a mostly all volunteer group, and people like June and Ann Rogers and of course Greg Reisig have kept it going all these years, and it's really truly a grassroots organization, and so glad to be part of it, celebrating tonight all the wonderful work that everybody has done and to help give out all the awards. So thank you for being here, and on with the show.
Thank you, founders. And what you have gotten us into just goes on and on and on. I applaud you, ladies. And by the way, the rods are still in the water and still causing dead fish. And if they move them, they don't know where they're going. So stay tuned on that one. We're a little involved in that again, too. So that's what it is. All right. If you are as concerned as I am about what's happening with the climate, stay tuned. You will learn more of this from our guest speaker, Kate Madigan. She is director of the statewide Michigan Action Network, MICAN for short, MICAN, and she hosts a podcast for building the resilience we need for the days ahead. Kate, we're eager to hear from you and learn more about what we can do to be part of this critical issue. So, Kate Madigan.
Thank you so much, Anne. It's such an honor to speak with you tonight. It's such a pleasure to be here at the Neahtawanta Center. It's the most lovely place I may never leave. And I want to thank NMEAC for inviting me to speak, everyone at NMEAC, and also for holding this event every year. That's really such a powerful celebration of important work happening in this region. So if you're seeing the slides, the picture in front of you is a picture of me and my 2 children visiting Sequoia this summer. And it was a lifelong dream to go to the Sequoia National Park. And I start with this because I believe this work has to be grounded in who the people and the places that we love, because that's what we're fighting for. So again, I'm Kate Madigan. I direct the Michigan Climate Action Network. We're a network of 76 organizations and over 30,000 individuals around Michigan. We have a small but mighty staff team that works around the state. I'm based here in Traverse City. And MyCAN started in 2015 at a time when not a lot of people were talking about climate change. A lot has changed since then, but we still have a lot of work to do. So we started to elevate the issue of climate change to be a top issue in our state, to move forward a powerful climate and justice movement, and to advance real, urgent and equitable solutions. So next slide, please. So you might know of our work because of the Speaking of Resilience podcast that Anne mentioned. We hold the Michigan Climate Action Summit. We work to prevent the Line 5 oil tunnel, which I'll talk more about, and our work to pass local climate goals like the 100% renewable energy goals in Traverse City. We also do a lot of work to center justice in the climate movement and in climate solutions, especially this year. So today I'm going to talk about where we are with climate change right now, what the latest is. I'm going to also talk about some historic opportunities in front of us right now to address the climate crisis and ways that we can all get more involved in this important time. Next slide. So I'm going to start with this, this photo. Anne Rogers actually sent this to me. This is a clip from a newspaper, and it's real. I checked from 100 years ago, almost exactly, a New Zealand newspaper. And it shows that the science about climate change has been around for a very long time. We've known about climate change. Climate science is not new. And the fact that burning fossil fuels is the cause is not news. But because we have failed to act for so long, climate change is a problem that we are living with every day. And the impacts we are seeing is what scientists have warned us about for decades. So next slide. This summer alone, extreme heat events have devastated the West and the Pacific Northwest, killing hundreds of people. Hurricane Ida devastated and killed at least 82 people in Louisiana and then the East Coast. Wildfires continue to cause devastating impacts around the western coast of the US and Canada, where they are right now threatening the oldest and largest trees on the planet in the Sequoia National Park. Here in Michigan this summer, Metro Detroit experienced multiple severe storms, including the second 500-year storm in just 7 years. And it caused real harm and human suffering. It flooded thousands of homes. Over 1,000 cars were stranded on the roads, and it caused at least 5 major power outages that affected hundreds of thousands of people. And none of us are untouched by climate change now, but climate change is not affecting us all equally. It is causing the most harm in BIPOC, low income, and other frontline communities, often where there's also a history of toxic pollution and underinvestment. Next slide. And then also this summer, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released its latest report, the 6th assessment report, and the UN called it a code red for humanity. Scientists are known for speaking cautiously. So this language really we take to heart. And also the world's leading scientists at the IPCC have told us we must cut emissions to 0 by 2050, climate emissions, and in half by 2030 to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. The UN General Assembly is meeting in New York this week, and one of the things they're talking about is climate change and setting the next global commitments ahead of next month's G20 summit and the COP26 climate change summit in November. And a report released Friday detailed how the pledges that countries have made at the Paris Climate Accord in 2015, and plus President Biden's pledges for the United States since then, would still lead us to 2.7 degrees Celsius warming by the end of the century. So this all feels pretty bleak. I'm going to say this is the low point of the talk. This is the reality we live in. We are in crisis, but there are many reasons to be hopeful, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about five of the reasons to be hopeful that make me hopeful. One, we still do have a window of time to act, to cut global emissions in half by 2030. The second thing is we have all the technology that we need to do this, to move off of fossil fuels, and it is cost effective. In fact, solar power is now the cheapest energy in history, according to the International Energy Agency. Also, the demand for the Ford electric F-150 Lightning is outpacing supply. Same with Teslas and Powerwall batteries. They're on back order. Energy Secretary Granholm said the clean energy transition market will hit $23 trillion by 2030 and create millions of jobs. So this transition is going to bring a lot of benefits. The third reason is that people are taking action by the masses, as we saw before the pandemic hit, with millions of people rising up and marching in the streets and demanding action. And the fourth thing is this is leading to leadership from cities and states and nations, like here in Michigan, where our governor has set a carbon neutrality goal. And Illinois just passed a Climate and Equitable Jobs Act this week. And the fifth thing is there is international agreement with the Paris Climate Accord and continuing talks to increase our goals. There's also political will to act at the federal level, which I'm going to talk about. So we have everything we need. The key is moving fast enough this decade and making sure we're doing it equitably so we don't embed injustice in our climate solutions. And we have some very important opportunities right now. Next slide. So the first historic opportunity I want to talk about is in Congress right now with the Build Back Better Act. So these photos, if you're seeing the photos of President Biden when he visited Northern Michigan this summer, one photo shows Mayor Carruthers with him, another shows Juliette King when he went to King Orchards. Mayor Carruthers took the opportunity to talk to Joe Biden about Line 5. And Juliette King took the opportunity to talk about climate impacts on her farm, on her orchard. So this is real climate advocacy at work here in Northern Michigan. At the federal level, we have such a rare and important opportunity. We have a light blue trifecta where we have a champion in the White House, we have a majority in the House, and we have a razor thin majority in the Senate. In the past 40 years, there have only been 4 years where this has also been the case. So we have this moment where there's an opportunity to move forward climate policy. We also have an undeniable need for investments in crumbling infrastructure in our country and bipartisan support to do that, and also investments to help recover from the pandemic economically. So what we're seeing now, as you probably know, is there's basically two pieces of policy. The $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, it has some climate provisions, but not nearly enough. And the Build Back Better Act, a $3.5 trillion set of bills, that investments in climate and other important programs that would help working families. And so this is the one we're working on. And it would mean billions of dollars investments in clean energy to move us to 100% renewable energy for our electricity and to electrify our transportation. It's the biggest climate policy we've ever seen. As Joe Biden would say, it's a big effing deal. And we have this really important opportunity. I keep saying that, but it's so true. So all of this is being negotiated right now. And the fossil fuel lobby is working very hard to water down the climate provisions. They've been successful in the past, and we need to make sure our voices are being heard. So there's never been a more important time to call your lawmakers. Next slide, please. You can write down the phone number that is on your screen that's to the Capitol switchboard, and they can connect you with any lawmaker. So call your 2 senators and your representative and tell them how much you care about this. There's more information on our website if you want talking points and more details. The second big opportunity we have right now is happening right in our backyard with the Line 5 oil pipeline. So we at MyCan and people all over the state, and many people watching this event have been working to shut down Line 5 for years. And I want to shout out to NMEAC, who's been a part of this work from the beginning, especially June Thaden, Greg Reisig, and Barb Stamaris. They've been so active in this fight. And not only does Line 5 put the Great Lakes at risk, but every day it carries millions of gallons of oil through the pipeline that, when burned, causes an enormous carbon spill into the atmosphere. So we're working to shut down Line 5 and also to prevent an oil tunnel that Enbridge is trying to build. To build this oil tunnel to replace Line 5, Enbridge needs to get permission from the Michigan, or needs to get approval from the Michigan Public Service Commission. And that's where we're spending a lot of our time right now. So MyCan joined with the Environmental Law and Policy Center to intervene in this case and specifically focus on climate impacts. This is, and also I want to say that the Bay Mills Indian community and Earth Justice are also just presented expert testimony and are intervening and are bringing up additional concerns. But no state agency has ever considered climate change in any of its decisions in Michigan. So initially, the judge in the case sided with Enbridge and ruled to keep climate out of the process. So we appealed. Our attorneys at Environmental Law and Policy Center appealed, filed new briefs, and we submitted comments from over 2,000 people and 120 businesses and organizations, urging them to include the impacts of climate change when you're building an oil tunnel that could operate for 99 more years. So on April 21st, the 3 commissioners at the MPSC overturned the judge's decision, which is very rare, and ruled to include climate impacts. Commissioner, the chair, Dan Scripp, said that based on the overwhelming consensus in the scientific community, that greenhouse gas emissions are a pollutant under MEPA, and they need to be considered in this case as part of the commission's MEPA analysis. So this was a huge win for us. And then it was last week when the deadline was to present that evidence. So we filed the expert testimony. We had 4 experts that are really some of the foremost expert in this field. And I'll run through them briefly. Pete Erickson, he has done greenhouse gas calculations for many pipeline projects. He did the analysis for the Keystone XL pipeline. Peter Howard is an expert in calculating the social costs of carbon. Jonathan Overpeck, many of you may know, he's the dean at the School of the Environment and Sustainability at the University of Michigan. He's also a climate scientist who was one of the Nobel Prize winning climate scientists for his work at the IPCC. And Elizabeth Stanton, senior economist with a lot of experience in this area. So what did they find? Next slide. Pete Erickson found that if they build an oil tunnel, compared to shutting down Line 5 and not replacing the tunnel, building a tunnel would release 27 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions every year. That's equivalent to building 6.8 coal plants or putting 6 million cars on the road. That's a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. He also concluded that building a tunnel is inconsistent with the goals of the Global Paris Climate Accord and the governor's goals in Michigan, climate goals in Michigan. Peter Howard found that building an oil tunnel would cause climate impacts that would cost between $41 and $160 billion. And this is a conservative estimate. It is likely a lot more. And Liz Stanton found that not building a tunnel is a feasible alternative. And she found that Enbridge ignored this option, unfairly limiting its consideration to alternatives that would continue to push oil under or through the Great Lakes. She also concluded that we can meet Michigan's energy needs in the UP without propane by using electric heat pumps. Next slide. And then Jonathan Overpeck, he looked at the overwhelming climate science and documented how climate change is already impacting Michigan in the Great Lakes region. The most significant impacts we're seeing that he found are with higher temperatures, greater than average precipitation, and more intense precipitation, which probably comes as no surprise to anyone living here. He also found that to avoid the worst impacts of climate change, we must rapidly move off fossil fuels and end the construction of fossil fuel infrastructure. So there's a lot more in their testimony. It was really compelling. From here, here are the 3 decision makers, the 3 commissioners on the panel. It's going to be about a year before we get to their decision. There's a lot of time for them to hear back from Enbridge and for us to continue to make this case. So we will be letting you know of opportunities to engage in this process. Next slide. So the third thing, and I'm going to touch on this just briefly, the third huge opportunity in Michigan is the governor's climate executive order. And it was exactly 1 year ago today that she announced and signed her executive order and her executive actions for Michigan to be carbon neutral by 2050. This is a bold, necessary, and achievable goal. And we sent this, you can see the thank you card that we sent to Governor Whitmer, and over 650 people signed it. So thank you for that. So what carbon neutral means is that we need to electrify everything, transportation, home heating, everything. And then we need to have zero carbon electricity. We need to do that by 2050. 2050 might sound like it's a long way off, but to get there, we need to make sure that every new car getting purchased in 15 years is an electric vehicle. And every new heating unit, like furnace, is electric. So that's we have to do it pretty fast. It is very doable though. So where we're at is that the Governor's Council on Climate Solutions has been meeting. There have been work groups that have been putting together recommendations. This is all, the report is set to be done in February. And so next slide. On the next slide, you can see that there's an opportunity to engage. The next meeting of the council is next week on Tuesday, and they're open to the public. You can watch them on Zoom or the state equivalent. And you can also send in your comments. There's an email where you can make comment. And we'll be putting together our priorities soon, and it will invite you to share your comments through our website as well. Next slide. So all of these opportunities for action give me hope. But I think the biggest thing that gives me hope is the power that people have. I've seen through the work that I've done that I believe that all big action, all action starts with local action, and it often has ripple effects. You can think about Greta Thunberg starting a one-person climate strike that helped spark the youth uprising. And we can see the ripple effects of our own local work. Line 5 that I talked about has a statewide issue. And it started with a small group of people, or Oil and Water Don't Mix started with a small group of people, and it grew from there. The 100% renewable energy goals that we passed in Traverse City in 2016 and then 2018 has had ripple effects on other cities, like Petoskey setting a 100% goal in 2019, Ann Arbor passing a carbon neutrality goal. It started with a small group of people who wanted to push for that goal. And I acknowledge that those of us that were working on that were standing on the shoulders of the activists and all the work that came before us. And it was because of the people who ran for city commission and stepped up to be on the Traverse City Light and Power Board that we had the decision makers and the leaders in roles to make this happen. And I also want to point out, because not everyone knows this, Traverse City has achieved its goal of being powered with 100% electricity for city operations. We're still working on the community-wide goal, but that's something that we should celebrate. So we can't take all the credit, but it is clear that we in this region have played a role in building momentum that I believe has carried all the way up to the governor's bold climate actions. Next slide. So in closing, I want to acknowledge that it is hard to live in these times of climate crisis on top of a pandemic. It's also a great privilege to live in these times where we have the opportunity to make a difference, such an urgent opportunity. And we have an obligation, I believe, to do everything we can. So I know I'm speaking to an audience of activists and of change makers. You're already doing a lot. So I invite you to do more, to do as much as you can. Join an organization with a big vision. Make sure you call your lawmakers, your members of Congress tomorrow morning. Donate a little bit more to groups and to candidates that you support. Run for office if you're so moved. Lean into the work that gives you joy, because that's how you're going to be able to sustain the work. And make sure you get plenty of rest and take care of yourself, because these next few years are literally our chance to save the planet. And now I get to introduce Victor McNanemy, who's going to play us some music.
It's an honor to be here. I'm going to play a song called Lament of the Lakes. I drew from the children's book, Paddle to the Sea, that many of us know and love. And so this is my interpretation of Paddle to the Sea. So, and the chorus is going to help me out on the map. They say up in Lake Superior, the fresh waters, they are endowed. They kept dumping the iron ore tailings a couple of miles out, where they settled down to the bottom, 76,000 tons a day. And muddied the once crystal waters, hey, of North America, between Canada and so-called USA. So a little farther on down along Minnesota, Wisconsin shores, the asbestos, it came a-washing, and you know, the West End, it won't take much more. And the people who chose to drink their water from a glass bottle or plastic jug, they refused to pay municipal water bills, had to go up before the district judge, the local TV news anchor shrugs. At the eastern end of Superior, I came in for quite a surprise. Stacks of Abitibi paper and Algoma steel belt smoke into one's clear skies. So it really didn't matter, eh, which side of the border I was on. In the end, all that seemed to matter was bigger profits for big corporation. Soon they'll be trying to sell us shares to the sun, trying to hold an Anishinaabe under the gun. The Great Lake, Michigan, once used to begin. Now Chicago River, it runs backwards. The Grand Calumet still empties in. And as the poisons keep on a-flowing, U.S. corporate state plants into the lake. Well, the rules ignored and inspections ticked off. Tell me, how much more can we take? The public trust doctrine they daily forsake. So Lake Michigan now is for sportsmen. You'd lure 'em in, the bank registers ring. Brings in tourists and dollars by the millions, selling out nature's the latest cool thing. But the big fish, they're no good for eating, laced with that mercury PCBs. And the water no good for drinking, laced with dioxin PFAS PCs. It's that Great Lakes Basin disease, the earth destroyers do as they please. Now they want to build high, low-level nuke waste dump, South Michigan, North Wisconsin, no Huron. Deep in clay, granite, limestone, wanna bury CZ, Pluto, Thor, iodide, uranium. So suppose someday in the future there's an accident, leak, sinkhole, or earthquake. Well, just maybe by then fools will realize how they made a few mistakes, like doing in those once Great Lakes. Great Lake Erie lies. Now every time there's a northeast gale, waters Detroit to Cleveland rise. You hear the Army Corps of Engineers, they got it figured out just what to do. Meanwhile, winds and waves of the big lakes howl, gonna flood all over you. Does that give this USA government a clue? And one pipe from Hooker Chemicals, it poisoned all Lake Ontario. So the Great Lake, taken off limits, had to cancel New York's sports fishing show. And the St. Lawrence River, she gets it all through her seaway locks and canals. And if that ain't enough, they got plenty more. How about some Great Lakes slant rig onshore wells? How about some Great Lakes slant rig onshore wells? Corporate state super troopers, they're just doing their job. Execute order, colonial governors. Enforcing state violation of sacred treaties, human rights, USA favorite ethnocide game. Seems to me if they cared about the lakes, from the crossbones and the skull, they go up on the Tittabawassee, St. Clair, West corporate criminals, a Dow Chemical, an accomplice in provincial and state capitals. And if they really wanted to care for the lakes, prepared to take a stance, they go around the shores of the Great Lakes, shut down all these damn nuclear plants, and give Mother Earth and this life here a chance. And if they really wanted to ensure the lake ecosystem to flourish and thrive, they go up to so-called states of Mackinac, shut down and remove that Ambridge Line 5, and let the Great Lakes and the people survive.
Absolutely wonderful, Victor. I just, every time you sing it, it is just more heart-rending. I just thank you so much. Phew. After that, coming back to reality, we had to cancel our 2020 celebration due to the pandemic, as you know. So we decided that this year it is imperative to honor those who were nominated last year for their outstanding work. They're all listed in the program with a description of their efforts and their accomplishments. And they are all our heroes for the environment, every one of them. Jeremy is going to start the honors by introducing the nominations in each category and the recipients of the various categories. And then after that, we will follow with very special recognition of other awards that will include the Greg Reisig Award. So helping out with Jeremy at the end will be John Nelson and Susan Whedon are some of our board members. And then we will introduce others later on. So thank you very much. Jeremy, you're on.
Thank you very much. And hey, everyone, can we just come off mute and just give a round of applause for the Neahtawanta Center and everything that they're bringing, whether it's Sally, Ann, Kate, or Victor. We can just come off mute and make some noise. Some love. And then let's see how fast you can get back to your mute button. It was not only an applause, it was also a test. And you passed. Nicely done. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite us to take a couple deep breaths in. We're kind of at we're approaching the midway point. And we'll take a couple deep breaths in, and then I'm going to go one by one through the different categories of Environmentalist of the Year, starting with student. And I'll announce the nominees, and then I'll also announce the winner in each category. So I'll announce the category of Environmentalist of the Year. I'll read a very brief description of what that category represents. I'll read the nominees, and then I will invite the winner to come on and share a 45-second to a 1-minute message of acceptance or of inspiration to you all. If that sounds good to you, give me a thumbs up, a wave, a dance move, whatever you'd like. Can we just all go like this really quick? We'll just have a little bit of fun, build a little bit of energy. All right, on the count of 3, we're going to take one deep breath in. We're going to hold it for 10 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. Let that air fall into your heart. Go ahead and let it out. And now we'll take one more deep breath in and we'll hold it for 11 seconds. Ready? Take a deep breath in. And feel that air nourish your heart, your body, your mind. And go ahead and let it out. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to start with the Environmentalist of the Year student. And this student shows leadership in addressing environmental issues in school or community. They show creativity and initiative in expanding their own and others' understanding of environmental concerns. They act as a model of ecological sensitivity for peers, teachers, and administrators. The nominees are the Rapid City Elementary students, the Youth Water Council, and Katherine DePauw Great Lakes Water Studies Institute. The winner of the Environmentalist of the Year Student Award goes out to Katherine DePauw from the Great Lakes Water Studies Institute. Katherine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, excellent.
It is so nice to see everybody and to see, just these smiling faces. I'd like to begin by thanking NMEAC for giving me the honor of representing all of the incredible students working hard out there doing important work. I served as president of the Freshwater Society, and I'd like to thank NMC, Costanza Hazelwood, my vice president, Chelsea Cooper, and all of the student members who work so hard. A special shout out goes to Heather Smith and the Watershed Center. They helped us establish a road salt monitoring program. So thank you to them. I've been very lucky and have worked with many nonprofits in the area. So I'd also like to thank them and really everyone out there who's helped students or created a place for them in their organization to maybe contribute, being able to feel connected to this community, to feel like we can make the world a better place, especially these last 18 months, has really been a lifeline for a lot of us. So thank you all very much.
Katherine, thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for modeling excellence in the brevity of yours. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, here we're going to round number 2. category number 2, Environmentalist of the Year, Educator. An educator who integrates environmental ethics into the curriculum and daily experience of students and instills in students a healthy respect for the natural world of which we all are part of. This educator helps students to understand the long-range impacts of their lifestyle, decisions, and the decisions they make and how that plays a role in our ecosystem. The nominees for our Environmentalist of the Year Educator: James Dake, Grass River Natural Area; Cory Hanson, the Greenspire School; Joe Creeder, Seeds; Boone Sharp, Kingsley High School; Amanda Scott, Youth Work Conservation Corps; Emily Umbarger, Interlochen Center for the Arts; Kimmy Winkle, Cognition Science and Discovery Center. And the winner of the Environmentalist of the Year Educator Award goes out to Cory Hanson. Cory is not here with us. However, we did get Cory to make a quick video for us. So if you're ready for a video, give me a thumbs up. We're about to do a video. All right, this is a little trickier. I got to push share sound. I got to get over here to the video. Never know what's going to happen. Oh, we're not going to go full screen there. We're going to go escape. There we go. Okay, I will go here. And here is Cory.
Hello, fellow Earthlings. Here we are where we've always been, in this pale blue dot floating in space that we call home. Earth, the only planet in the observable universe that we know is so perfectly organized that you and I and everything we know and love exists. But industrial civilization is consuming our home. Human means impact, but can humans have a positive impact, not only on one another, but on the precious planet that we call home? This is one of the essential questions that threads through all of my classes at the Greenspire School. In this great state that we live in, over 80% of all of the land mass is private property. This means 8 out of 10 opportunities for the regenerative life support system of the planet to be intact here has to happen around our homes, around our businesses, and around our schools. We have work to do. To change everything, we can start anywhere. Thank you, NMEAC. Thank you, the greater Greenspire community. And thank you to our dear, dear Mother Earth. When you thrive, I thrive.
And again, that was Cory Hanson, the Environmentalist of the Year Educator. Great job, Cory. The next category is the Environmentalist of the Year Grassroots Group. This group empowers citizens to have an effective voice in addressing important environmental issues. They are effectively bringing about change that will protect or improve the environment. The nominees for Environmentalist of the Year Grassroots Group are David Christian, Jannan Cornstalk, Rob Carner, and let me read those over again with the organizations. Dave Christian, the Antrim County Channel Lakes Level Committee; Jannan Cornstalk, Water is Life Festival; Rob Carner, Glen Lake Association; Emily Votruba, MI Fibershed Team at Grow Benzie. And those are your nominees. And the winner of the Environmentalist of the Year Grassroots Group is Jannan Cornstalk. Jannan, are you there?
All right, hopefully.
You're there.
I am.
We got you.
I'm trying to see my view here. Oh, awesome. All right. First of all, can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Thank you, NMEAC. And first of all, I want to thank the creator. He is the one that inspired me to do this work. And I want to thank my committee, because without my committee, I wouldn't be able to do the work either. And one of my mentors is Robin Kimmerer, and what she has taught me, and a lot of her teachings are based on reciprocation and us just not taking from the earth, but also giving and thinking like that to love and to nurture all of these two-legged, four-legged, the winged, and all these other plants and animals, and the water. These are all of our relatives, and to think like that. And how is it that we can reciprocate to them, and so that we can coexist with them versus some of the main society where it is like profits over people or profits over, our relatives. So I want to thank NMEAC. I want to thank my committee, and I want to thank the creator for, impressing on my heart that this work is not easy. It does take a whole community to do this. And just like with the Waters Life Festival, all of you, I'm glad to be able to share the space with you, and that all of our work would have a ripple effect, and that there'll be lots of takeaways from today, including all the information that Kate Madigan shared with us, which is really important. So I want to thank, again, my committee, NMEAC, and all of you for putting together this most excellent event. And I'm very, very honored to be able to share this space with you. Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Jannan. Thank you. And we've gone through 3 or 4 categories, and between 3 or 4 categories, we're just going to take a deep breath in and just take a deep breath and just a moment of acknowledgement for all the nominees and all the winners. So 1, 2, 3, take a little deep breath in. And just send appreciation out to the winners you've heard from and all those nominees in those categories who are doing such important work in the world. The next category is the Environmentalist of the Year, Journalism and Communications. A journalist or a communicator who helps the public develop a deeper understanding of environmental issues facing the region, takes the initiative in investigative reporting of environmental issues. The nominees for the Environmentalist of the Year, Journalism and Communications: Linda Dewey, Glen Arbor Sun; Jeff Gibbs, Film, Planet of the Humans; Kay LaFond, Interlochen Public Radio; Sherry McWhirter, Traverse City Record Eagle; Steve Tuttle, The Northern Express; and Beth Wallace, Great Lakes Partnership Manager at National Wildlife Federation. And the award for the Environmentalist of the Year, Journalism and Communication goes to Beth Wallace, Great Lakes Partnership Manager at National Wildlife Federation. Beth, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Thank you so much. This is such an honor, and I want to thank NMEAC. And I also want to just give an amazing shout out to the list of nominees in this category. It's an honor to be in this space with all of you. I started working on this issue a little over 10 years now because I witnessed what it's like to go through a horrible spill. It is awful to experience, and it is awful to witness your entire surroundings be destroyed by such callous behavior. And there's no way that the issue of Line 5 could be in the space that it is today without so many of the amazing people on this call and in the community that has worked on this issue for 10 years. We are so close, and I look forward so much to celebrating the closure of Line 5 very soon. And thank you for all that you all are doing to protect the amazing Great Lakes. My heart is with you, and I appreciate all of your voices. Keep standing up and keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Our next category is the Environmentalist of the Year, Business. The business that takes voluntary measures to ensure their business has the least possible impact on the environment. They act as a model of ecological sensitivity for peers and employees. The Environmentalist of the Year Business nominees: Sarah Anderson, Ironfish Distillery; Matt Myers, the M22 Stores; Bob Sutherland, Cherry Republic; Dory Turner, the Water Valley Inn; and Jennifer Viren, Taproot Cider. And the recipient is Bob Sutherland from Cherry Republic. Bob, are you there? I see you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, and thank you everyone here at NMEAC. It's an honor, and an honor I share with all of my 300 employees and our hundreds of thousands of customers who love the North as much as I do. You know, it's a thrill to win this award, but it's a bigger thrill to win these issues. And so I'll fight on against, fight on for shutting down Line 5 and getting our climate back in control and everything for the Earth. Those are the biggest wins. I'll keep on fighting. Thanks for this little boost.
Beautiful, Bob. Thank you. The next category is the Environmentalist of the Year Public Service Office. This is someone who's taking the lead in constructing a proactive legislation or politics that protect or enhance the environment. They display integrity and impartiality in dealing with potentially controversial issues relating to the environment. The nominees for the Environmentalist of the Year Public Service Office: Tim Ahrens and John Taylor, Traverse City Light and Power; Mark Breederland, Michigan Sea Grant; Matt Fletcher, Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy; Craig Olson, Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore; Mark Randolph, Kalkaska Conservation District; Cameron Ross, the Grand Traverse and Leelanau Conservation Districts; Nicole Schaefer, Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. And the recipient is Kama Ross from the Grand Traverse and Leelanau Conservation Districts. Kama, oh, nice.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, NMEAC, for recognizing the work that I've done over the past 8 years, serving as the district forester through the Leelanau, Benzie, and Grand Traverse Conservation Districts. Providing on-site technical assistance to area forest landowners has been my pleasure and an honor. Forest landowners are facing unprecedented environmental stressors and seemingly never-ending non-native insects and diseases as they try to be the best stewards of their resources. It is certainly a challenging time for all of us, but I've been so inspired by the number of landowners seeking me for good information as they make decisions on their landscapes. Trees and our forests are the greatest 100% renewable resource, and our best management practices will help us combat climate change. It'll help us provide clean energy in the future and face the increasing threats to a healthy environment most certainly coming our way. All of us are part of that solution. I'm so grateful to have helped my community be more resilient through my forestry work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kama. The next category is the Environmentalist of the Year Professional. The nominees are Tom Nelson, Leelanau Conservancy; Carolyn Thayer, Designs in Bloom; and Kelly Thayer, Flow for the Love of Water. And the recipient is Kelly Thayer, Flow for the Love of Water. Kelly, are you there?
I'm here, Jeremy. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
Great. Well, thank you very much. You know, when I think of NMEAC, in my mind, I see the faces of Ann and June and Greg and Barb and John and Ken and Kay. It happens to me every time. And it means a lot to me to be honored by you and by your fellow volunteer board members. I admire each of you and your commitment to protecting the environment that we all depend on for life and for our joy as well. And I'd also like to thank my wife, Carolyn Thayer, who was also nominated in this category for her work to promote native plants and to protect shorelines and water. Carolyn not only works tirelessly, but also fully supports me in my efforts. And I never could have done the things I'm being honored for without her help. And the same is true of Flow, the organization that I work for, and our staff and board. Thank you for providing the opportunity to do this work together, protecting the Great Lakes, groundwater, and drinking water for all. It's very much appreciated. Thanks a lot.
Kelly, thank you so much. And again, we're just going to take a deep breath in and honor all of the nominees and those who have, and the recipients of these different categories of the Environmentalists of the Year. And this time we'll all raise our hands and get a breath in while we open up a little space in our rib cages. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. Go ahead and let it out. All right, one more deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. And if you're at Neahtawanta and you feel okay, you can give the person next to you a little high five, maybe look them in the eye and say, I'm glad that we're here together. And if you're on Zoom, guess what? You got 4 options. You can give your Zoom partner to the right a high five. Go ahead and give your Zoom partner to the right a high five. We got the left-hand side. Go ahead and give someone to the left a high five. Don't forget down low. And of course, we got to finish with up high. Give them a high five. All right, and then you can give me an air fist bump on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Nailed it. Environmentalist of the Year, volunteer. This person provides outstanding leadership in addressing a major environmental issue in the region, serves as a model of ecological sensitivity for others in the region to follow in daily life and work. The nominees: Madeline Baroli, past student intern for Forestry Assistance Program; Norman Fred, Boardman River Clean Sweep; Ingembar Johansson, I apologize if I did not do a good job on that name, Honor Area Restoration Project; Suze McLaughlin, Benzie County Community; Sharon Oriel, Leelanau Conservancy; Aubrey Ann Parker, Benzie Water Festival; Seth Phillips, Manistee Lake Association; Nicola Philpott, Citizens Climate Lobby, Westwood Elementary PTO President; Charlie Weaver, NMEAC and Sierra Club; and Sarah Archer, Iris Waste Diversion Specialists. There are 2 recipients for this award: Madeline Baroli and Aubrey Ann Parker. We can spotlight one at a time, or we can spotlight both of you at the same time.
I'm spotlighted. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to receive this award, especially in the presence of all the other fantastic people being acknowledged for their good work tonight. Since I don't have much time, I wanted to use this opportunity to invite people to learn more about the Assisted Tree Range Expansion Project, or ATREP, which you can read all about at atrep.net, which is also listed in the program. This project is focused on supporting the resilience of our forests by planting tree species that are projected to be better adapted to our future climate. And perhaps most importantly, it's about encouraging people to be in stronger relationship with the land and hopefully give our community a greater sense of agency in responding to climate change. I want to express my gratitude to the conservation districts and all of the other organizations and businesses who have participated in or shared this project. And most importantly, to Camera Ross, our soon-to-be retired, totally badass district forester who nominated me. She has nurtured my love of the forest and my curiosity and ambition since we first met in 2018. I'm looking forward to seeing our friendship continue to grow with all the trees that we've helped to plant over the past 2 years. And also congrats to Aubrey.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for recognizing our work with the Benzie Community Water Council. We were inspired by earlier water festivals that happened around the state, Mackinac City being the first one. We started planning the first county water in the fall of 2010, so we've done this for more than a decade now. Every revolved around this idea of celebrating water, entertaining our community, educating them about water issues, and activating them to feel like they can go out and make change to help protect our waters here in Benzie County and in Michigan and elsewhere. It's always been a family-oriented event. We've had musicians and keynote speakers and fishing tournaments, a frozen race around Betsy Bay, and panels of experts on various topics. We've had kids activities, a science fair at the local high school, and we started a local scholarship in 2015. So we've given thousands of dollars toward college education in water-related fields since then. We also started a microgrant series, so you guys should apply, in which people can apply for money to fund their water-related projects. We've been able to do this through our amazing sponsors every year, but also through our hardworking board members. Currently, that's me, Josh Stoltz, Randy Stoltz, Greg Kindig, and Jordan Bates. but two of our founding board members should also be mentioned as well. The late Nancy Kasperzak and the amazing Susan McLaughlin, who was also nominated in this category, both of which were movers and shakers in Benzie County when the rest of us were just kiddos. So we just want to say thank you for recognizing what it is that we've been trying to do out here in Benzie County for the past decade. Thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Maddie. Congratulations. Our next category is Environmentalist of the Year General. Provides outstanding leadership in addressing a major environmental issue in the region. Serves as a model of ecological sensitivity for others in the region to follow in their daily life and in their daily work. The nominees are Rick Buckhalter, Alex Campbell, Bay Area Recycling for Charities, Becky Alexander, Marilee Wood and Lisa Snyder, Clarence and Esther Krupa family, Emily Magner, League of Conservation Voters, and the recipient is Rick Buckhalter. Rick, are you there?
Hi. I want to thank everybody for this award, the people who nominated me. And one of the things I've noticed while I was watching this program is all your nominees have been doing positive things, and I seem to have ended up in the role of stopping negative things. And I couldn't have done it without some help from a couple of important local attorneys who you know, and some really fine and talented people who helped me put the lawsuit together to put the fish pass in the court system where it still is today. And one of the things that we all learned from this is the politics of Traverse City have changed. And since we seem to be the focal point of all this intense development, the lesson we learned is you can no longer sit in front of the city commission and make statements protesting something that they're attempting to do. They do not listen. In the future, the next commission apparently is in the same position they are, and they won't listen to anything you say. And the only way that you can challenge them is in court. And I hope that all the tremendous amount of work that the group of people that I worked with all last winter and all last spring, we created a template where maybe private individuals can gather together as a unit and get into the court system and challenge the city. We did that successfully. And if you can follow the blueprint that we created, we can challenge future issues that are coming up. Because I have to tell you, unfortunately, the city, for whatever reason, is going after our park system, just like they did Union Street Dam Park, Parking Lot T and Parking Lot B, the farmers market. That's coming up in like 60 to 90 days. That will include attempts to change the use of the open space and also the senior center. So I hope you pay attention to what I say. And again, I thank NMEAC for the award and the people who nominated me. And I appreciate all the efforts that they made over the years. Thank you very much.
Rick, thank you very much. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the great message. Environmentalist of the Year, the next category, is around agriculture. The Environmentalist of the Year, Agriculture. All things local. All things organic, sustainable when it comes to the agriculture. The nominees for Environmentalist of the Year, Agriculture, John Dindia and Bailey Samp, Lakeview Hill Farm, Michelle Ferrarsi, Birch Point Farm, Barry Krull's Composting, Jake Millarch, Archangel Ancient Tree Archive, Ryan Romian, Providence Organic Farm, Carissa Savage, Lost Lake Farm, Chris Skellinger, Buckets of Rain. And again, I apologize if I'm not nailing these names and I am butchering them. I really apologize if I'm doing them a disservice. The recipient for Environmentalist of the Year, Agriculture, is Barry Krull from Krull's Composting. Hey, Barry.
Hi, I'm not Barry. My name is Christina Speaks, but I do represent Barry for almost everything. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we were actually going to have to speak. So I'll just I'll just do what I normally do and just talk to you guys about what we do. So we make humified compost, which our motto is to, humified comes from the word humus, which is the same meaning as the word human, ironically, which ultimately means of the earth and for the earth. So it's our goal to create compost products and other carbon-based and microbial products that are going to be from the earth and ultimately give back to the earth in an even greater way than it was taken from it. And it's our goal to heal our soil, heal our water, heal our own bodies, and to heal our world. And through everything that we've studied and learned, and Barry Kroll, he has over 40 years of experience in the composting industry, and just a wealth of knowledge. If anyone ever has an opportunity to talk with him, he is going to do amazing things. And we just want to be able to have a lasting impact in our community, not just for the next 5-10 years, but for many generations to come, which is why what he does is just outstanding. It's not compost that is just going to last 2 to 3 years and have that CO2 turn back into methane, or have runoff, from nitrogen go into the waters, or have CO2 just end up back in the air again. It's going to last for 60 to 1,000 years and continue to pull that CO2 out of the air. We've lost so many of the microbes that help to build humus and topsoil naturally. And it's our goal to change that and to have a positive impact on the water. And we just really believe that it all starts with the soil. And it's our God-given duty to protect our water and to protect our soil and protect our air. And we really think that this is a major key of making that happen. So thank you to Barry Kroll, who's on the call. He just doesn't have video or audio where he's at. So thank you, Barry. And thank you to Cameron Ross, who's helped us so much with projects in the community too.
Wonderful. And your name was Christine, is that right?
Yep, my name's Christina. Christina Speaks.
Christina Speaks, thank you very much for the message and the information, and for helping to bring Barry alive right here in front of us all. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and we hear the kids in the background, so thank them
sorry,
too.
I do. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's real life right there.
So yes, if you give me a call, this is what you hear. And the background is 5 kids.
You did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps up our recipients of the Environmentalist of the Year categories. And now we're going to move into our special awards. Who's ready for the special awards by raise of hand, finger wave, thumbs up? Excellent. I'm going to hand it over to the Neahtawanta Center, where at the podium is John Nelson, a NMEAC board member.
Hi, everybody. We are water, and we are so blessed to be surrounded by swimmable, drinkable, and fishable water. So it seems only appropriate that we have an award especially for watershed stewardship. And this year's selection is the Leelanau Conservancy, led by Tom Nelson. Hopefully Tom is here.
Yep, I believe he is. Let's go find Tom. Thank you, John. Tom, are you here?
I am here. Thank you, John. What an inspiration you are. I'm so honored and humbled to be here with all of you amazing people and organizations, and to accept the John Nelson Water Steward Award on behalf of the Leelanau Conservancy. We have a deep admiration, respect, and affection for John and the Woolsey Nelson family. No one person accomplishes much alone. I'm profoundly proud to work along such dedicated, committed, and hardworking staff, board members, volunteers, and supporters. In our 33-year history, the Leelanau Conservancy has permanently protected nearly 60 miles of streams and shoreline. It's a powerful thing when a community of people rally around and stand up for their shared values as a force for good. And I know NMEAC has a deep understanding of such an imperative, making it so special to receive this award. In this time of enormous challenges, may our shared love and reverence for our precious land, water, and air continue to be the tie that binds us all. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for this wonderful honor.
Tom, thank you so much. We're going to go back to the Neahtawanta Center, and Ann Rogers is at the podium.
Congratulations to all of the people who have been so honored because you are doing so much. We are humbled by all of the actions and other things that you're doing. It is amazing to see what is going on in this community. The next award is the Litigator of the Year. And this is an award that isn't given out every year, but we felt this year that it was well deserved. The Litigator of the Year is also a water protector. And she is one of the most caring and generous people with her time. As lawyer for the Grand Traverse Band and other tribes, her expertise has been used at the DAPL protests and others. She has spoken at rallies and fought for the release of many who have been detained or arrested when protesting pipelines that violated their tribal sovereign territory and disturbed their ecosystems. Holly Bird deserves every bit of this.
Thank you so much, Miigwech. Naitra, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm really honored by this, and thank you. You know how much I love you, and to be in such great company with all of these beautiful people in my community is really inspiring. I didn't go into the law in any kind of a conventional way. I'm probably in the most unconventional way you can think of. I started off in the arts and wanting to be a zoologist. And, but I think the call to go into the law was inspired by justice and the injustices I was seeing around me. So I went into the law to work for my community. And my community at that point was my Native American community and wanting to help my people. But my community is also my mother. All of my inspiration is for the love of my mother, who is the same as yours. So the Makaki, our Mother Earth, whatever name you have for her, is the whole reason that I do the work that I do. We wouldn't be anywhere without her. Just like our own mothers, we wouldn't be born. We wouldn't be living. We wouldn't be experiencing this paradise that we live in. And so it's my responsibility, both as an Indigenous woman and just as a human being, to be thankful and respectful for that. And this was one way, in a practical way, that I felt I could help. So whether it's helping water protectors or speaking at a rally or doing community events with really good people like you all, it's my honor to do the work. And I'm so grateful to be in community with all of you. So miigwech naitra.
Well, my name is Susan Whedon, and I'm here to give the Golden Beaver Award. I've had it for a very long time, longer than I thought I would. I've enjoyed having it in my house, but I am extremely happy to now turn it over to Kathy Klein. I want to say that about the Golden Beaver Award. I remember the last time that we met with Greg, he talked about how important it is for the people who are working behind the scenes, the people who are writing the letters. And one of the things he said is, one of the most important things he said is to show up. And I'll never forget that, because that's a lot of it. Never thinking that the way we show up now is really different, but we do it. Lots of Zoom meetings. So is Katherine, are you available here?
We'll find her.
There she is.
There she is.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Susan. I'm honored to accept this award. and also the fuzzy little guy. I feel a lot of love and support from my fellow board members, and I really appreciate that. I do love working behind the scenes. I've been NMEAC's treasurer. I do some proofreading, pay the bills, serve on committees, and I also help set up the Environmentalist of the Year venue and food when we are able to meet in person. For those of you in the Northwestern Michigan community, we need you. Please visit our website, attend our meetings, get in touch with us. We'd love to have more involvement. I'd like to give special thanks to Bidabon and Marquette for helping me this week, to Jeremy and Bill for making this evening happen. It's been really nice. And also congratulations to all of the 2021 Environmentalist of the Year nominees and winners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. We're going to go back to the Neahtawanta Center and back to the podium. John Nelson.
Clarence Kropa, what a man. He loved the land, especially its trees, and he certainly added his share of the trees to the earth. It's a wonderful, wonderful inspiration and hero of mine. The winner or the recipient this year of the Lifetime Service Award, the Clarence Kropa Award, is Dory Turner of the Watervale Inn. She's not here this evening, but to accept her award and to tell you a little bit about Dory is Glenn Chown from the Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy.
Well, thank you, John. And I'm honored to accept this incredible award tonight on behalf of Dory Turner, a great friend and an incredible conservationist. Dory has a serious illness, and unfortunately, she couldn't be here because she's in the ICU at Munson Hospital. And I know that she and her family would appreciate keeping her in your thoughts and prayers. And they've asked me to say a few words. So a little background on how I got to know Dory and about her leadership in protecting the land and water, particularly the coastal dunes of northern Michigan, which truly is a geological treasure and a resource of planetary significance. Her family has owned and operated the Watervale Inn on the coast of Lake Michigan and Herring Lake since 1917, 104 years. Back in the 90s, Consumers Energy partnered with, I think, a past recipient of the Golden Bulldozer Award, a guy named David Johnson, who approached the family about selling the inn to create a Bay Harbor style development of condos and marinas, golf courses, etc. The consumers kept coming back. They'd show up the day after Labor Day when innkeepers and summer resort owners are tired. And and the last time they showed up, they offered her $3 million cash to sell the inn and walk away from it. Dory said no, her mother said no. And the next year they placed a voluntary conservation easement. They donated it on the entire property with 7,000 feet of shoreline on Lake Michigan and 5,000 feet of frontage on Herring Lake. And next time consumers showed up, they handed them the deed of conservation easement and said, game, set, over. But that wasn't enough. Then Consumers was going to develop a 6,000 acre tract where Old Baldy is. It's a famous dune on that property, rising 400 feet straight out of the shore of Lake Michigan. And Consumers partnered with a developer to do a massive development, Pebble Beach style, where they wanted to turn Old Baldy into a sand trap and have hundreds and hundreds of condominiums. Dory joined the board of the Conservancy. I think she was invited by Greg Reisig, one of our founding board members, a great friend of Dory. And people like Wayne Clatter, who's been one of the stalwart supporters of NMEAC. And she helped lead the effort at our board and also the fundraising campaign, where we had to raise over $30 million in a very short period of time to save that property. And I remember one time, the staff was a little overwhelmed. We were a small organization. And I remember going to Dory, I don't know how we're going to do this. We don't have much time. And Dory said something that meant a lot to me. She said, one of my favorite quotes is, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Well, we went on and saved that dune, in part through Dory's leadership. There's a chapter about that leadership in a great book called Saving Arcadia by Heather Schumacher. In fact, an entire chapter to Dory. So on behalf of Dory, on behalf of the conservation movement in Northern Michigan, I want to thank NMEAC, and what a wonderful evening. Happy 41st birthday, NMEAC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Dory for all that incredible work.
We have one more award before we get to the final special one. And this is an award that really nobody wants, certainly none of us. So David Petro will give it.
Where is it? Doing us a little different here. Whereas the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners Environmental Hit Squad is so fond of issuing resolutions that incite our community and seem fond of wasting time instead of working on proposals that benefit our climate. And whereas the Environmental Hit Squad has endeavored to propose and pass motions, dictates, and resolutions that threaten the health, safety, and welfare of all in Northern Michigan, and whereas the Environmental Hit Squad wasted time and taxpayer money to pass such things as the resolution in support of Line 5, which has been pumping crude oil through the Straits of Mackinac and 640 miles of Michigan forests, rivers, lakes, and environmentally sensitive wetlands for more than 68 years. And whereas the primary benefits of the Environmental Hit Squad go to increase profits of foreign oil companies, while we endure the risk and inherit the environmental damages. And whereas the consequences of the health, safety, and welfare of all Michiganders are put at continuing risk from climate destruction caused by burning fossil fuels. And whereas the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners Environmental Hit Squad has worked so hard to be on the wrong side of history, they have justly earned our Golden Bulldozer Award. Please let these 4 commissioners in the Environmental Hit Squad know how you feel about their international notoriety and ask them to consider working for positive changes in the future. We truly want to have more awards for positive work for the environment, and we would prefer to never have a bulldozer award again.
Yes.
David, well done. Excellent. And good job holding the prop.
Well, we've come close to the end of our program, but we do have one brand new award that I'm sure many of you have been looking forward to. It was established in the honor of Greg Reisig, my former co-chair and partner for many, many years on NMEAC. And when we lost Greg last year, I think all of us were devastated. This was established so that his memory will live on. So for the newest award, Jeremy Reisig will be the presenter. I introduce you to Terry.
So as Ann said, I am Terry Reisig. I am the wife of Greg Reisig. And from the time he was a young boy and his parents vacationed in the Traverse City area to the year he quit his job in Chicago and moved his family to Elk Rapids, to the day he died in his beloved yellow house, surrounded by towering pine trees and blue sky, Greg loved Northern Michigan. Although he had been a teacher in Illinois, when he permanently moved to Northern Michigan in 1990, he discovered his true calling, writing about and advocating for this incredibly beautiful and life-sustaining region he called home. As writer for and editor of the Lake Country Gazette, Greg found his true purpose in life and was so lucky to meet so many dedicated, kindred spirits in the environmental community, including many of you here tonight. He treasured his friendships with you and was inspired by your shared love of the region. His passion for protecting our natural resources drove his every action. Whether attending a county commission meeting, debating with the DNR and Army Corps of Engineers, sitting in a courtroom, researching the history of a proposal to fill a wetland, or planning with his dear, dear friends in NMEAC how to honor the sanctity of nature, Greg never let anyone or anything distract his focus from advocating for the environment. Northern Michigan gave Greg his life's passion, a kind and loving community of friends, a place of peace and focus for joy. Our family is honored that this prize pays tribute to his memory, his unending love of the land, water, and air, and to the broad reach of journalism in the battle to protect this amazing region and to make a difference. The Greg Reisig Prize for Journalism, a $1,000 award that will go to the charity of the recipient's choice, was created to honor a person who has produced a work that has had or will likely have a great impact on environmental justice or protection in Northern Michigan. This year's recipient is a dedicated individual who has demonstrated his passion for protecting the environment by helping to shape conservation and Great Lakes policies. The author of 6 conservation books and a Michigan Author of the Year, he currently serves as a policy advisor for FLOW. Greg would be honored to know that the first recipient of this award is his friend and fellow warrior for the environment, Dave Dempsey.
I want to thank Terry first and Northern Michigan Environmental Action Council as well for all of the hard work that you've done to benefit our community. I'm really humbled to in any way be associated with the name of Greg Reisig. He was a passionate advocate and an intelligent advocate and a fierce advocate and a persistent advocate for the things that he cared about. And our community is better because he was here. I first got to know him about 20 years ago when he was working to save a wetland from a local developer who shall remain nameless. He worked on that so valiantly that he convinced the then Attorney General of Michigan and future Governor Jennifer Granholm to come and pay a visit and inspect that wetland and try to help protect it. And it's because of his tremendous efforts that that wetland and many others around our community have been protected. I wanted to keep the focus on Greg tonight. It really belongs to him. And I decided to look at his memorial and kind of read you a little bit that describes his character, because I think it says it better than I can. Said he will miss his friends who loved the environment, those who created extraordinary art, those he sailed with, those he shared a meal with on Lakeshore Drive, Driftwood Lane, and Eagle Lake Road, those with whom he explored Big Bend, those he celebrated the end of summer with around a bonfire on Birch Lake, those who could listen to music all night long and answer the question, what makes a good song? Those he sat with on the deck of the Blue Cabin to delight in the sunset. those with whom he walked in the steps of the Beatles in England, those he talked to in the neighborhood about Elk Rapids, those he shared victories with at Wrigley Field, those he remained friends with from his teaching days, and those he made friends with last week. Greg was a man of great complexity and great heart, but I think his memory is best summarized in the last line of the memorial, in which he says, he requested that each of us do our part to protect the region and to practice kindness. I think these days, both of those are essential. So thank you for the award, and let us all honor Greg Reisig tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave. This is so beautiful.
Congratulations to all who have received awards. Thank you all to the presenters, those attending, and anyone supporting NMEAC. If you didn't get a program and wish to have one, let us know. You can watch our website for more information and to see a replay of this program. In late October, we will have a webinar with the climate guru, Peter Sinclair, so watch for that. And thanks to all for supporting NMEAC. I'm going to conclude with something that David Millarch sent to me many years ago. It's been my mantra, and I hope it touches your hearts also. It's called Planetize the Movement. It's 3:23 in the morning and I'm awake because my great-great-grandchildren won't let me sleep. My great-great-grandchildren asked me in dreams, what did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something when the seasons started failing, as the mammals, reptiles, birds were all dying? Did you fill the streets with protests when democracy was stolen? What did you do once you knew? I thank you all for listening. Be safe and good night.
Great work, Ann. Great work, Neahtawanta Center. A lot of appreciation to Bill Letka, working the multiple cameras and bringing a very special group of people together in a very unique time in human history. To get a group of people together to do that type of audio visual work and bring that type of professionalism to an event like this is really world class. So Bill, kudos to you, to the NMEAC board, to all of you. It's been an honor and a privilege to be part of this event. It was a very important event for my dad, and to leave you all tonight with a little bit of creativity. Something my dad loved is he loved music. So I'm going to leave you with a song called Love. If you're ready for a little bit of music, you can stand up, you can sit in your chair, you can enjoy. This one's called Love. You can hear the music. Let me see your hands move. All right, check.
In this life of ours, how will we use our hearts? Being human's hard. How will we play these cards? With every choice, we choose our noise. With every look, we are gonna use our voice. It's time to stop in the name of love. Drop all the petty stuff, love will show us the way. I'll wear it like a body glove, give away a big hug. It's time to demonstrate. Love, love, love. So much love between you and me. Love, love, love. Love remembers the little things. La 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 love. Love is the pulse of peace that I need. Love, 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 love.
All right, everyone, little move side to side with me. Little move side to side.
Let's get up and play. enjoy every day. With these words we say, no, 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 no. What will we create when we look into each other's eyes? When we look for strengths, we realize we can stop in the name of love, drop all the petty stuff. Love will show us the way. Or we'll be like a body glove, give away a big hug. It's time to demonstrate a little bit of love, love, love. So much love between you and me. Love, love, love. Well, love remembers the little things. La, 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 love. Love is the puzzle piece that I need. Love, 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 love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and let your heart beat, 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 lead us now. Stop in the name of love, drop all the petty stuff. Love will show us the way. Wear it like a body glove, give away a big hug. Love, love, love. So much love between you and me. Love, love, love. Well, love remembers the little things. La, 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 love. Love is the puzzle piece that I need. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love.
Thank you, everyone, for an amazing night. The tech worked. Great job to everyone who was involved. We'll see you all next year and many times before. Make it a great night, stay safe, and continue to do good work out there in the world.